instruction, how to assess where students' needs are, and what to do next. This is a 5th grade teacher. You can see how Liz sends this out. The 4 questions are: in what way has letters empowered you to meet your student needs? And then the teacher, you can see their answer. How have you seen students thrive this year in reading? What else do you want to share about your year as a letters learner? And what would you say to inspire other teachers to participate in letters? These are very powerful things. I think Letters tries to buy these off of us for advertising, but we're not selling it. Yeah. So Letters has empowered me to meet the needs of my students by providing me with a better understanding of how to confidently deliver foundational skills support, especially in the upper grades. This is written by a 5th grade teacher. This is Louisa Maltz. She is the formal author of Letters. She stresses teachers are the most important factor in student success. And I think the biggest lesson we've learned over the years is that we must support and empower our teachers to teach reading. Informed teachers can explain language to students. They know the sounds, they know the spellings, and they know that word meanings can be confusing, and they know they understand that and how to instruct. They use lessons based on reading science, so when they open up Wonders and they look at something and go, that's not quite my understanding of how that should be approached. They're able to pivot based on their knowledge, so they're not dependent on any curriculum. They know the research, they know the strategies. One of the things I want to end with at our last Saturday was, it is fun, right? They are super fun. I was talking to the cohort 2 presenter, and she told me that the presenters, the instructors for Letters fight to come to Wainini now because of our teachers and our administrators, and just their engagement, their intelligence, their willingness to try things and to engage. They just have nothing but positive things. So we have to hear that they fight to come and get our to reserve us is, I think, a testament to our teachers and our administrators. So very proud, looking forward to continue to grow this throughout the district. So just the beginning. Anyway, any questions?
Does anybody have a question?
Thank you so much. And thank you, Liz, and thank you.
Item 9.1, acceptance of the 2023-2024 audit report. Ms. Marshall.
Good evening, governing board members. I want to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Peter Glenn. He's a partner and a certified public accountant with our audit firm, Nigro & Nigro. And Mr. Glenn will present an overview of the June 30th, 2024 audit report. And I wanted to let everybody know that this audit report is posted on the Wainini Elementary School District website under the Business Services page. And it's recommended that the governing board accept the June 30th, 2024 audit report. So, Mr. Glenn.
Mr. Glenn, we're ready for you now.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, my name is Peter Glenn. I'm with the audit firm Nigro & Nigro, and I'm here to present the audit report for 23-24. The audit report, the auditor's job with the audit report is to express an independent opinion on the district's financials, and it's also to report on compliance separately. So we issue a total of 4 reports with our audit. The audit provides what's known as reasonable assurance as to the financial position of the district. And so we have reported that in our audit opinion, which appears at the very beginning of our report. And in our opinion, the district's financial statements are fairly stated as presented in the audit report. For a little overview of how the audit proceeded, we started the audit in about May of 2024, and it proceeded all the way until we issued the report in November of 2024. So the audit has now been filed with the State Controller's Office and CDE, and also with the county office, as well as with the federal clearinghouse, because the district expends federal funds, so that has to be reported on as well. As I had mentioned, the audit started in May, and we visited 3 sites where we tested attendance, which is a state compliance requirement. And then as we proceeded with our audit, we audited the district's federal and state compliance areas. We started that in the springtime as well, and we wrapped that up in the fall months when we also tested the financials. And the financials audit consists of testing the balances and also the totals that the district reports in its unaudited actuals. And you might remember the board would have approved those in September of 2024. So that's what the financial audit is comprised of. So if you look at the 4 reports that we issued, as I mentioned, the audit opinion was a clean opinion. It referenced that the financials were fairly stated. And then the next series of reports is that we use the government auditing standards, and we look at rules and compliance and legal compliance in general in internal controls. And so that the district, we found no deficiencies there. And then with the federal audit, we looked at the special education program and also the education stabilization funds, or ESSER. And those, there were no findings or exceptions that we noted in that area there. And that is shown in on page 73 of the audit report. Lastly, the state compliance, which is shown on pages 70 and 71 of the audit report, we did note 2 findings that we have explained in the back of the report, in the findings section, and those consisted of the transitional kinder with some early enrollment students, and then secondly, the second finding was for the SARC, or the report card that the district issues. There were a couple of things that didn't match from the facility inspection tool to the report card, which is posted February 1st of every year. So that is a real quick summary of the audit report and the results of the audit report. We'd like to thank the district for their cooperation with our audit. We'd also especially like to thank Patty Marshall for her team's cooperation with our audit as well. And if there's any questions, I would feel free to ask those. That is the presentation.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to accept?
I'll move to accept.
I'll second.
And I'm sorry if I can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay, motion by Dr. Weiss, second by Mrs. Gomez. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments or discussions for the board? Dr. Weiss?
I just want to confirm with the superintendent that we've implemented the changes in the transitional kindergarten that was recommended in the report already.
Yes.
And also the same thing with the school accountability report card.
Yes.
Recommendation. Great. I just want to get that on the record.
Thank you so much for your report. There's no questions for you.
Maybe no questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a roll call vote. Ms. Bruno?
Aye.
Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Weiss?
Aye.
And I. The motion passes 5-0. Item 9.2, adopt resolution authorizing filing of application for the State Allocation Board Administrative Programs. Mr. Braxton.
Good evening. So resolution number B 242506, this authorizes the district to apply for funds through the State Allocation Board's School Facility Program, the SFP. The resolution requires the district to submit a 5-year school facilities master plan, and the plan must be approved by the district governing board and submitted within 90 days of processing the application. Adoption of this resolution ensures the district's compliance with state education code regulations regarding the SFP. So tonight we're asking the board to adopt resolution 242506.
Do we have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Ms. San Pablo, second by Mrs. Bruno. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments or discussions from the board? Dr. Weiss?
Just where do we stand on our master plan report at this point? Because we have to have it done in 90 days.
It is in development. We'll be bringing that to board at a later meeting.
Is that the next 90 days?
It's actually, I think, after you put in, after you
Oh, after you put your
put in your application. Yeah, so that hasn't been done yet either. So we have a little bit.
So the time doesn't start tonight and we adopt.
That's correct.
Got it. Okay. That was like.
I did a roll call vote, sorry. Mrs. Bruno?
Aye.
Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Weiss?
Aye.
And I. The motion passes 5-0. Item 9.3, adopt resolution authorizing filing of applications for State Allocation Board Administrative Facility Hardship Programs and/or Facility Hardship Mitigation Programs. Mr. Rasta.
So resolution B 242507, which is remarkably similar to the B 242506, authorizes the district to apply for state funding through the school facilities program for facility hardship and seismic mitigation facilities. The resolution also requires the district submission of a 5-year school facilities master plan. Adoption of this resolution acknowledges the district's understanding of the agreement and the conditions for participation in the school facilities program. So we're asking the board to adopt B 242507 this evening.
Move that we adopt B 242507. I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Bruno, second by Ms. Gomez. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments or discussion from the board?
Just one question. So, do we qualify for hardship funds?
There are several criteria that the district have to meet to qualify for hardship. And in the past, one of those has been your bond funds have to be encumbered or expended. So right now, we would not.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, because the county office always qualifies because we can't pass bonds to the county office, but we just passed two bonds. That's fine. Okay. So we don't qualify, but we'll pay this in just in case we want.
That's correct.
Thank you.
I will do the roll call vote. Mrs. Bruno?
Aye.
Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Weiss?
Aye.
And I. The motion passes 5-0. Item 10.1, quarterly report on Williams uniforms complaint. Mr. Castellano.
Good evening. Tonight I'm pleased to inform the board that for the period of October 1st through December 31st, 2024, the district did not receive any complaints during that period with regards to the Williams Act and uniform complaint.
Thank you, Mr. Castellano. Item 11.1, approve the use of metal detection wands. Dr. Walker.
Yes, so you might remember that at the December board meeting, we had a student presentation from Blackstock, and they asked the board to consider the use of metal detection wands under particular circumstances. And so the board asked if we could have this as an item tonight. And so tonight we are recommending that the board approve the use of these wands under certain circumstances, such as whenever there is reasonable suspicion. And so if approved, we will begin the process of procuring wands and looking at what kind of training would be needed and doing a rollout. But they would be used in limited situations.
I'll move that we approve the use of the metal detection wands.
Second. Okay. Motion by Mrs. Bruno, second by Mr. Pablo. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments or discussion from the board? Please.
Have we had any parental input on this topic?
I haven't received any parental input on it, and I don't believe that the students reached out to any parents.
Have any board members received any input on this? No. Thank you.
We'll do the roll call vote. Mrs. Bruno?
Aye.
Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Ruiz?
Aye.
And aye. The motion passes 5-0. Item 11.2, adoption of the resolution to reaffirm commitment to the education of all children and making all campuses a safe zone for students and families. Dr. Walker.
So on November 12th, back in 2016, the board adopted a resolution that was the commitment to the education of all children and making all campuses a safe zone for students and family. Tonight, what is before you is an identical resolution which really reaffirms the board's commitment to educating all students. This is essentially, it's a messaging resolution. So our board policy and our AR, our administrative regulations, 5143.13, really outlines the actions of what staff should do in how they would enforce immigration coming onto campus. So all of our administrators have received our board policy and our administrative regulations a couple times now. I shared it with all of our staff and all of our families last week. And then we're continuing to share resources that we receive as we get questions from families feeling uncertain right now. So tonight I am asking the board to adopt this resolution B242508.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gomez, second by Dr. Ruiz. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments or discussions from the board? Dr. Ruiz.
Yeah, I think this is a critically important issue, and I thank you for bringing it to us. And so you say our current policies fit the guidance that we've received from the state, and our AR is real clear on exactly what we expect to not allow ICE officers to come on campus without parental permission.
Correct. So, for example, one of the things is if ICE comes onto campus, the administrator has to contact me. We will contact legal counsel also before anyone is admitted.
And are we putting anything out on this resolution besides the minutes of this meeting that helps parents understand that they don't need to worry about sending their kids to school?
Yeah, so my plan was to share the resolution with all of our families once it was adopted by the board.
Great. There's a lot of fear out there right now, and it's beginning to happen all over the country. So we need to make sure that Wyoming is safe and our kids are safe. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do the roll call vote. Mrs. Bruno?
Aye.
Mrs. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Ruiz?
Aye.
And I. The motion passes 5-0. Item 12.1, trustee reports. Mrs. Bruno?
Nothing to report tonight.
Ms. Gomez,
Nothing to report.
Ms. San Pablo,
Nothing to report.
Dr. Ruiz.
The only thing I have to report is that a grant that I wrote that our district is participating in, Dr. Walker worked with me on it, was approved. So it's the school council residency grant. And we'll have some of our student counselors here in our district, and it pays the school counselor that is serving as their mentor $1,000 a semester to do that for them, and gives them training, things like that. So I want to thank the superintendent for joining with us in this consortium of 5 districts here in the county. All of the Oxnard Plain except for Fillmore Unified. Senator Riverville.
That's good.
Thank you, Dr. Walker.
And I don't have anything to report, but I just want to acknowledge, all the staff, parents, community for the challenges that we've been having in the past months, fire and the mental challenges and the insanity that we've been going with the power outages and winds. And I just want to say thank you, because it's been stressful. We don't feel, I don't feel like myself either 100%. And I just want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for understanding. It's not easy with everything that is happening and not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow. But I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you to everyone for every support and to keep the kids safe and the families. Thank you. And item 12.2, superintendent report.
Yes, so I wanted to share that, as you recall, last year we received a petition from a number of families at Haycox who were interested in implementing a dual language program. And so after working with our FPM reviewer, we went through the petition and verified signatures to see if we met the 30 signature threshold to pursue looking at the feasibility of a dual language program. Which we did. We met that threshold. So we notified the community and the staff that we are in the process of looking at the feasibility of implementing a dual language program. Part of the feasibility study is we look at what are the staffing needs, what would the professional learning needs be, what type of instructional materials would be required. For example, unlike Sunkist and Larson, who are our 2 most recent dual language adopters, Haycox is an English-only school, so they don't currently have curriculum or instructional materials in Spanish. So we're looking at cost. We have 60 days to do all of that. Our plan is at the February 24th board meeting. Our plan is to bring the results of that study and a recommendation to the board about whether or not it is feasible to move forward with a dual language program at Haycox, and if so, what would the timeline for implementation be? So you can expect that at the February meeting. The second thing I have to report is January, as you all know, was a very windy month, and thank you to all of our staff and our administrators. Being on inclement weather schedules for multiple days is very challenging, having kids indoors and wind and smoke and everything. So it was a very challenging month. We're thankful that we weren't impacted right in the district, as we know there's been so much tragedy around. But I do want to thank all of our staff for all of your extra work in January, trying to manage the schedules. My next item, March 3rd, we will be having a special board meeting. It will be a dual board meeting. The first part of the meeting will be to look at our facilities plan and how we want to allocate the remainder of our Measure C funds. And then the second half of the meeting will be my evaluation. So Monday, March 3rd. Part of it we want to kind of look at 4 o'clock. Yes. So for example, we'll look at, do we want, are we going to be able to do gymnasiums at our middle schools? If we do that, what projects would we not be able to do, or so forth and so on. I just want to make sure that the board has an opportunity to provide some direction to staff in terms of allocating those funds. Tonight, when you adopted the personnel report, one of the things that you approved was our new community schools coordinator positions. As you know, we received a community schools grant for 4 of our schools, our two junior highs, as well as Williams and Haycox. And one of the requirements is that we have a coordinator position. And so we will start recruiting for those. They will operate very similar to what an assistant principal will operate like. They'll work very closely with the principal in terms of operating the schools, but also be overseeing the community schools program. Community schools is very site-based. It is not intended to be a district operated grant. It's every site looks at their community school and what's going to be best for that school. So we're excited to get those people in place. And then lastly, we have been celebrating the progress that we made with our academically, but even with all of that progress, we are eligible for differentiated assistance for 2 of our student groups. And so we will be working with the county to make improvements there as well. So our African American group and our homeless group in the area of pupil achievement and chronic absenteeism. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Dr. Walker.
Can I ask questions?
Sure.
Can I ask some questions? So when we talk about the feasibility of Haycox having a dual English program, will we be bringing us recommendations on revised budget and whether teachers will be allowed to change schools if they don't want to do that program? Will those be considered?
Yeah, so part of what we'll be talking about, even in terms of the timeline implementation, for example, if we look at perhaps implementing not this fall, but next fall, that would give 2 transfer rounds of staff to be able to transfer. If we were to implement this fall, that would give 1 transfer round because the board meeting would be before transfer round. So same thing looking at the cost. The primary cost would be the instructional materials.
And then just one other follow-up question, maybe 2, on the community schools. How are those different than the old Healthy Kids school centers that we used to have back under Wilson?
I don't know exactly.
The only reason I bring it up is that was a real partnership with county government. So behavioral health, medical services were all distributed from county government to the schools. And so it sounds like there's a little bit of that in this community school concept.
It is similar because it's very much partnering with community agencies, but may or may not be a government agency. It could be, food share or
the ones we typically have in the parent nights set up.
Yeah.
Okay. And will there be more staff hired too? Will they all have wellness centers in them?
So right now, Green and Blackstock both have wellness centers. Actually, Williams also has a wellness center, and Haycox has 2 counseling wellness rooms. So they'll probably look at their site and determine if they want to make changes to how it's operating. When we initially were looking at community schools, we had thought this grant could be one way to continue funding our wellness rooms. However, one of the requirements with this grant is it has to be something new, not continuing. So we are looking at how we would enhance.
That doesn't have to be new partnerships. We can do some.
Correct. It can be existing partnerships. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? Item 12.3, suggested future agenda items. Is any report? Yes.
I would like to see a report on the public comment we had tonight on the racial violence that was suggested. As soon as possible.
Thank you. We will now go into closed session at 7:19 to discuss labor negotiations, confidential student matter, and unemployed matters. Thank you.